Anita in San Antonio, Texas. You're on the air with Congressman Alan Grayson.
Hey, hello, everybody. Happy or Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Okay. Thank you, Anita.
I hate to bring up Donald Trump, but I'm going to. Congressman Grayson, what do you think? Do you think Donald Trump is actually going to win the Republican nomination? I don't see how the Republicans are going to get out of that. Because I think if they try to, there's going to be a revolt. And what do you think the chances are? And are you hearing any members of the Republican caucus actually concerned about that and expressing their fear?
And if I can add to Anita's question, Congressman, I'm hearing a little bit of buzz here from some insiders that the Republicans that they're actually having serious discussions about a brokered convention and bringing out Paul Ryan. And that's one of the reasons why he's being treated with kid gloves by the hard right now, in passing legislation that they would have taken down John Boehner over. Thoughts?
Well, the answers to your questions are yes and yes. I've thought now for a couple of months that Trump is the likely nominee, and I think that there's a disconnect between reality and those people who say, well, that would never happen. That's not how these things get decided. They get decided through a specific process called the primaries. And at this point, the most likely outcome of the Republican primaries is that Trump wins. We have a significant number of primaries, like my own Florida primary, where winner takes all. Trump could get 28% in the Florida primary and end up with 100% of the delegates. And at some point, if you keep getting 100% of the delegates, you've got at least 51% of the total. That's the way this process actually works. If Trump wins in Iowa, if he wins in New Hampshire, if he wins in Nevada, if he wins in South Carolina, then going into the first set of major primaries on March 1st, and then the second set of major primaries on March 15th, he has tremendous momentum. And in many of these primaries, he could come in first with a very split vote, with as little as a quarter of the total vote, and end up with all the delegates. So, I mean, if those are the rules of the game, it's easy to see how he could end up actually getting the nomination. It's also true, by the way, that there's a lot of consternation. The Republican members are very nervous about this. They realize that they could easily lose 50 seats or more if Trump is the nominee, but that doesn't mean they can change the rules of the game in the middle of the game. They're sort of stuck with those rules, and those rules might mean that Trump is the nominee.
Very interesting. Congressman Alan Grayson with us for the hour, taking your calls. We'll be back in just a moment. And Congressman, you're still with us?
Yeah, Tom, you make an interesting point regarding Paul Ryan and a broker convention. Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
If you'd like to finish, sure. But go for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's difficult to get to the point where you have a broker convention that's controllable. Fewer than a quarter of the Republican delegates could be characterized as super delegates or party functionaries or anything like that. So given the fact that more than three-quarters of the delegates are actually going to be committed to, and vociferously committed probably, to people like Donald Trump, people like Ben Carson, it's difficult to see how that ends up with a brokered convention.
But like the scenario you described, if Donald Trump carries 24% of Florida and gets 100% of the delegates, that remaining 76% of delegates who, theoretically did not represent him, is that delegate pool pulled from Trump supporters that get sent to Washington, D.C., or get sent to the National Convention?
With a tiny number of exceptions, people like the governor,
right.
Those total numbers are pulled from Trump supporters.
So they would be unlikely to change, because I know that
right.
the Republican rules are that the first vote you have to pretty much vote what you're committed to, but after that first vote you're freed from your commitment.
Yeah, but these will be Trump zanies or Carson zanies, regardless of whether they have a legal commitment or not.
That's very interesting. So maybe they're preparing Paul Ryan for another VP run. I mean, or maybe the stuff that I'm hearing, the gossip I'm hearing in D.C. here is just nonsense. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.